between the feathers, so where you see the shadows. This is how you're going to separate the... Hi friends, welcome to this class. We're going to paint this colorful bird. From the description, looks like it's a bee eater. This is my test piece. I did this test piece because I wanted to paint it looser, way looser than normal. And I wanted you to get the idea of how loose we're going to go with this painting. I'm gonna start working on the wetting part, but then in the middle, I will stop for a second just to dilute colors with water. So this is my flat 24 brush, making sure it's a clean brush. And here, like I said, I'm gonna go on the inside. I'm not gonna wet the outside, so what I mean by it is the background. This is a flat 24 Da Vinci Casanel. I am using a softer brush. I want to use a softer brush. You don't have to use the same brush. Just try to have a softer brush. So a softer brush can be a flat brush. You can use a round brush or quill brush. Quill brush would be another brush I would use if I didn't have this one. I do have quite a bit of water because at the beginning I don't mind that much water. It's the moment when I'm ready to start applying colors, that's when I don't want too much water on my paper. Now here I'm gonna get a little closer and then I'm gonna stop right there, right below the beak. Go, something like that. As long as I don't go over here, because I don't want the color to bleed from the head toward the background, because I like the way it turned out in my test piece. And then here I'm just gonna add some water like this. This is my Imidazolone yellow, Gambut Nova. It's a little dry, so I take my time. Iso yellow, my leaf green. It is kind of like one of my top colors, but I don't use it as much. I work more with like sap green most of the time. Phthalo blue, Van Dyke brown here, quinacridone red, and then this is my indigo. I do have another color. I'm just gonna reactivate just because I want to clean up my palette, only because it's here. This is like bright rose and quin violet, but don't worry about it. Like I'm just cleaning basically my palette, and that's just gonna be for the darkest parts anyway. And then back to wetting. So my flat brush size 20, and I'm gonna put my test piece away and I'm actually gonna turn it because I get kind of distracted when I see my test piece that I like, and then I try to match it when I do a class. But here I want the colors from the feathers here to bleed, and also here a little bit toward the background. So I also wetted a little bit of the background, but here I'm gonna stay on the inside. What brush do I want? I guess I could just use, oopsie daisy, I could just use my flat 24. So first colors I want to apply are yellows. Imidazolone yellow, Gambut Nova, Iso yellow. So actually I want to go back here to have a little cleaner yellow, and I want actually even more water here. This is Imidazolone yellow. So first you're mapping out the area wherever you want that yellow to pop more. So we definitely have some yellow here, and then we have some yellow there. So here the colors should bleed toward the background as well, because that's where I wetted the background too. A little bit here, maybe even here. Now I'm gonna add a little more, but now I'm gonna start adding this leaf green. So there's my yellow, and then there's my leaf green. I'm gonna go for these most greenish parts. I want this to all dry transparent too. That's why it's important to use this water to milk-like ratio, which is why I'm also grabbing a little more water with the paint. So there's my leaf green, and it's okay if you leave some areas much lighter. As a matter of fact, I want to start adding some of this cobalt turquoise light. So maybe here, maybe here. It's important to stay focused, so you're like with your eyes, like you're scanning the reference, and you can see like, okay, this is where I want more blue, this is where I want more green, right? If you want something more like we see in the reference, that's pretty much like the leaf green with some of the yellow. So I'm gonna scoop all of this, and if you noticed, I'm not trying to overly mix colors on the palette. All of it should happen on the paper. And what I'm gonna do is quickly grab, let's see, this cobalt turquoise, but a cleaner version of it. and just apply it here, and you can see how much cleaner it is, but I need less water, so more like milk-like ratio. Just feel it out. If you go directly over the greenish parts, then you see like it's turning into this sea green color. So this is like diluted paint with water, and just whatever I feel like I want to show more of that, and I do feel like I see it there, so that's why I added more. And then this is like mixed up already, and this is my leaf green, just because this feels a little more intense here. You're kind of also separating the feathers this way. Now, there's one area, which is here, it needs darker tones, right? So I do need to add some darks, and then these feathers right here. Now in between, I do see that yellow popping through here and there. It's already colorful, right? It's super colorful. And I have all this color everywhere basically, and maybe a little bit over here, but this needs to be a little darker, slightly darker. I need to grab a little bit of green, just a leafy green, and add it closer toward the beak. It seems like it should be a little more intense. So this is like a heavy cream on the tip of my brush that's already dirty, and I'm just going to add some of this green, and I'm gonna add it wherever I have that line, which is right here. This is cream top-like ratio between water and paint. So this is the creamy paint, cream top-like ratio. I don't need to add it everywhere. And some parts like here in between, this is gonna be more like a wet on dry. But I do want that paint to kind of like touch the colors that I just applied, and I want to have like a softer transition in a lot of these areas. And does it mean I have to add it everywhere? No, I do not. It's just a couple areas. So the paint kind of bleeds in some of these parts, right? Between the feathers, so where you see the shadows, this is how you're going to separate the feathers. And here's the thing, we can also lift colors. So there's a lot we can do to this bird. But with the lifting colors and all that in between and painting it wet on wet, you create that soft look, and we can easily separate the feathers. Yes, we can do it now just by adding shadows. And I'm going to grab this creamy paint, which is the cobalt turquoise and some of the leaf green. I'm going to try to grab more and just to kind of separate some of these feathers. Even that shade of the darks that I was using overall through the painting. And I'm going to clean the brush, see if I can add any more yellows, since I have all these yellows. Just all of the yellows, plus the leftovers of my greens and so on. And maybe like add it here. Not too much. I really want to keep it loose overall. That's the goal. You don't want to find yourself like trying to lift when you've never lifted before, like in the middle of a painting. I don't suggest that. You really want to actually get the feel of it beforehand if you're planning to lift. It's okay if you don't lift, because the painting will be still very pretty even without the lifting, because you can just pull the paint. So I added a little bit here of these strokes. I'm going to grab some of the darks as well. So again, it's like the steps change because it just depends at what stage am I at and what can I do. And it's very different a lot of times compared to like, you know, like I painted something else like a test piece, and the outcome sometimes is very different. It's just because I had more time, let's say, to lift colors or apply colors. This is cream top-like ratio between water and paint. All right, my friends, I think this is finished. Here's my test piece. I just finished painting the eyes. I kind of like this one a little better just because it's actually looser. I have a bloom here. I have a bloom here. I love it. This is, I'd say I did a little more here, more work in a way with the lines, and just the composition maybe of the feathers is a little different in this piece. I just like that there's more light. As you see, like paper white here, like some hard edges. So that's the thing, like I don't mind these hard edges here and here and here, and then the bloom. So if you have that, great. Don't try to fix it. So that's it for this loose painting. Thank you so much for your time, and please let me know if you have any questions.